You see what I mean? It's gonna happen no matter what.
I'm not laughing, I promise.
Yes, you are. I can hear you.
Oh, no, you have no proof.
I do, though. It's called mental connections.
I forget how good these things are.
No context.
No, so sorry. For people obviously watching the stream, Body Armor makes these really good drinks. And I got one that's called Strawberry Grape. It's really good. I like it. Oh, there goes Dayton. Let me get back in here, I should say. Alright, invite.
We'll be in just a second, just waiting for it to load.
Drix is
As
on
is normal.
question mark?
We'll see what goes on. Just give me a minute.
Oh, there's people on wets too. What is going on? Cam is on wets, Beaver's on wets. I'm confused. And Hoop is on enters. My brain hurts.
Well, after what was a pretty enthralling Belgium Grand Prix just a week ago, we have no idea what's going to happen here tonight, but oh boy, be sure to see what happens. Welcome along to Breakout Racing League's Realistic Tier Championship, and we have arrived at the Dutch Grand Prix here in Zandvort. Now, Zandvort, you have got 14 corners that make up this historic track. 2 DRS zones, one going into turn 1, and the other one going into turn 11. Now, we haven't really seen many exciting things happen at Zandvort, but this is BRL. A lot of things have happened really at this track, especially back a couple seasons ago in Realistic Tier itself, where we had quite a hell of a pile up. Hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight. We'll just have to find out. Right now we're here through qualifying. Your host is Michael. I am joined here by Redeemer. Now, Redeemer, we've had quite a lot of action here in Zandvort, whether it's realistic or it's equal. What do you expect the drivers are thinking of in this race, knowing what could potentially happen?
Bring the car home in one piece, obviously. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, that's obviously going to be the goal, isn't it?
Right, Ardell's gonna go pole for a provisional P1 in Q1. No, honestly, this is my first time commentating realistic. Obviously,
You're not the only one.
Right, but, racing in it, I think 3 different times this season, and then I just dropped it. Anyways, but yeah, just bringing the car home in one piece. Zandvort can be tricky. Riding on board with Ardell, the downhill section here, as he's just gonna completely miss the corner. It can be tricky, you know, curbs are not gonna be your friends at this track. And obviously, you know, just bringing the car home in one piece and not spinning on the baking in turn 3 and turn 15, I think it is, the final corner?
14.
14, yep. So, yeah, obviously, you know, you got the ball, which is turn 3. You want to keep the car planted when you come out of that, and then you got the S's following up through the downhill right-handed, the very fast right-handed corner. You know, obviously just keeping it steady through that, and then, like I said, the final corner, so.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely tricky around this track, especially on a track where it's not entirely easy to overtake. Obviously, this track, it does have 2 DRS zones, and they are quite decently long, but this track isn't really heavily known for overtaking. Hopefully we get plenty of overtakes, but we'll just have to wait and find out. Let's go over through the Drivers' Championship now, and it's currently Cookie who I'm on board with right now. That leads the championship with 169 points, 22 points ahead of the Alpine of Sczther, which Sczther has been doing absolutely incredible in the Alpine, needless to say, keeping up in that championship fight, and he's just 9 points ahead of Hoopolicious in the Mercedes. And then it is Taylor in 4th, quite a distant ways away from the top 3, but helping Red Bull nonetheless. And then it's Alphanesis in the Haas. He's had a brilliant season. Unfortunately, he isn't here today. We'll see if he can come in next week. But he currently sits in 5th ahead of Sufjan. Sufjan currently sitting in 6th ahead of Toneless. And then it's Port in the 1st Ferrari ahead of Nath, in which Nath, obviously, he joined Ferrari back in Belgium. And, well, he has been showing quite a decent amount of pace, as he is doing right now, currently on provisional pole. And then it's Cam rounding out the top 10 here in the Drivers' Championship. Let's go over to the teams now. And oh, that's not the teams, my apologies. And, there we go. Red Bull lead by quite a distance ahead of the next car. Red Bull has a 139-point gap to Alpine behind, which Alpine actually overtook Mercedes for 2nd in the championship, and Mercedes sitting in 3rd respectively, just 3 points ahead of Ferrari. Then it's Haas in 5th ahead of McLaren, and it's AlphaTauri in 7th ahead of Alfa Romeo, and then it's Williams and Aston Martin being the only team with just a singular point. And we'll just have to see if any of those bottom teams, but also how the championship is going to play out in this race. And, well, I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It's Zandvort. It's just unexpected, really. That's all it is.
Zandvort kind of reminds me of Hungary. I almost said Netherlands.
It reminds you of Netherlands.
Yes.
Yep. Same thing.
Moving on. On board with Sczther, he actually just had a purple sector 1. Car looks very stable. Setup looks confident, or he looks confident in that Alpine at the moment. Have to see what he does to the 2nd sector split coming around turn 10 into turn 11 now with the DRS open. See what it comes up. Purple sector 2 split into turn 11 through the left-hander of 12. Careful not to lose the car on exit. We go down through onto turn 13. Don't hit the curb on the right-hand side. Be careful on the exit. And here comes the final corner, the very banked corner. DRS dash to the line. What is he going to do? He's going to do a 11.4.
Just narrowly behind the Red Bull of Boss Cookie, which has pretty much been exactly where Sczther has been this entire season. Obviously, Sczther, he doesn't exactly have the best qualifying. No, I say that, yet he's in an Alpine, he's qualifying top 5. But he only has 1 pole position to his name. Same with Cookie, to be fair, as really the main man to be getting pole positions has been Hoopolicious. He's got 5 poles to his name that could be challenged by Nath. Nath really showing quite a bit of pace in the later stages of this season and ever since joining Ferrari. But who knows what could happen here in Zandvort, because obviously Zandvort, it's a tricky circuit. It is known for downforce, and Mercedes pretty good on downforce. So is Ferrari, to be fair, but we know how Hoop is. Hoop is absolutely incredible in qualifying as, oh, Sczther just hits the wall. Doesn't have any damage, but luckily he already did this lap, so it doesn't matter. As Port jumps up to 2nd, I completely missed that. So right now it's a Ferrari 1-2 in Q1. Obviously, that's not going to be pole position because obviously this is full qualifying. So with that, it's going to be the bottom 4 in this case that will get knocked out. And right now, 12th down to 19th have a lap time, and they're going to need to do so if they don't want to get knocked out. And if you are a top team getting knocked out here in qualifying, that's going to be absolutely detrimental to your race.
Flashbacks to Russia last season.
That being?
Where Max started P20 and got P2.
Well, he had a grid penalty.
Right.
So,
but still,
and
but,
also
I mean,
that the conditions were also a little weird, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and
he would have finished P3 if Norris was smart, but yeah. Unfortunately he kind of messed that one up.
Yeah, on board with Dayton, as we were doing that, going through turn 12, he did set a purple sector 1 and 2, but we know Cody does like a little lie to us. 213, let's see how it does. But
You're not wrong on Cody's lying to us. But now opening the DRS does the Red Bull. Gonna blast towards the line. He goes ahead of his teammate, and he currently lines up in third. But it's a Ferrari 1-2 still, and Red Bull third and fourth, followed by Sczther in fifth.
So Drix right now
pretty
on
much
a
standardized.
lap. Sorry to cut you off, going through turn 10. See what he does through the second split. It is also a purple sector 2 from a Haas, nonetheless. Not something you see every day, right?
I mean, yes, but it could also be lying, so you know this game.
I know,
So do
I'm just saying, you never really see a Haas purple sector 2, especially in qualifying.
You're not entirely wrong, as Drix is going to come across the line. Where does he put that? Haas puts it up to P6 ahead of Friday in the Mercedes. So pretty decent qualifying for Drix. Obviously reserving for Alphanesis in this race, due to the fact that Alphanesis had a couple of issues that unfortunately barred him from qualifying and from the race in and of itself. And I'm going to look over the chat right now, and Daniel saying, does best commentator reply to chat? If you're talking about me, I don't think I'm best commentator, but yes, I do reply to the chat. So there you go. There's your answer. Yes, I do.
Cam comes across the line and go to P12. Cam coming to the line. What just...
You know, if there's one person
What just happened?
that...
Cam.
Oh, Cam going really wide there. And, well, that's going to be his qualifying done. He's going to go in... Well, not done, but he's going to go into the pits. And I was going to mention real quick, if there's someone we haven't really mentioned, well, that nobody's really mentioned, but somebody that deserves a bit of praise, it's going to be Phantom. Obviously, he's not had the pace, but he has been very, very consistent in that Alfa Romeo. And it's shown because, obviously, his teammate, Sanchez, he may have the upper hand in terms of pace, but Phantom has been so consistent to the point that he is always there no matter what, and he's currently ahead of his teammate in the standings by 10 points, which, honestly, knowing Phantom and for those that know Sanchez, that's honestly pretty impressive. So shout out to Phantom, because he's kind of like an underdog in this tier.
Yeah, there's a lot of underdogs. There's some more than others that we haven't, like you said, really talked about. Thomas Death coming out on the final corner, Hoopolicious is provisional P1, and Thomas is going to come across the line. I lost my train of thought. He's going to go P15, and now the Beaver, we're going to call him that because I can, coming around the final corner.
I mean, that is his username.
He's going to hit DRS in the other Williams. Ashes through the line. He's going to go P9.
Big jump.
Well, he didn't
So Williams once again, the Williams once again with another good qualifying. Obviously, ever since Beaver joined the team, needless to say, he's pretty much shown that he is the guy to beat in that Williams. He's been absolutely electric. He's been grabbing points since his debut in that Williams. That being, I believe, if I remember, it was at Britain. I'm not entirely sure. But Britain, he literally got P8, and then, well, Hungary, he got P9, I remember that. Belgium hasn't really gone his way, however, but that's because he had a collision with his teammate, and, well, luckily there were safety cars, but he just didn't have the pace, simply, and, he finished still P11, but Beaver has been absolutely pushing the limits of that Williams, and right now it's already showing, currently sitting P9, whereas his teammate, all the way down in 18th. That's almost like a Latifi Albon situation. Not saying that John is Latifi, though. He's done his bit. So just looking over, we only got just over 3 minutes of Q1 left to go. Right now, currently in the drop zone is Cam's actually crashed. Cam has crashed, and that, if I can find him, that looks to be at turn 3. It looks like he's just simply lost the rear. I think Crispy might be checking now if he's okay. Well, it's a virtual game, so he's fine. But that is Cam already out of qualifying. He will start 19th, and he'll be amongst the bottom 4 that are getting knocked out in qualifying, along with Toneless, Ardell, and John as we're nearing the dying stages, and Ardell currently on an out lap as it stands at the moment. Did you just die or something?
No, I'm in the ACC chat. Sorry. Trying to understand.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I might as well go on board for a lap of Ardell. I'll go ahead and take this. Going down the main straight and then braking really hard and also trail braking into the corner of turn 1, known as Tarzan corner. Opening the corner out to get right on the curb. That's a quick flick to turn 2. And then around the banking at turn 3. Making sure not to lose the car, and he's done exactly that. And that is probably going to be his qualifying done and dusted, so never mind to that. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait a little bit. Let's see. Who is currently on a lap? Cookie, he is not on a lap. Crispy will be on a lap, so I'll go on board with Crispy instead. Once again, going through turn 1 as of right now. And making sure he gets close to that curb, running the car out wide onto that curb, then flicking into turn 2, a fast corner. He completely cut that corner right onto the curb and then loses the rear. And Crispy will not be able to beat his lap time. He might start well, not start, but he'll be 12th as it stands at the moment. As Friday went up a couple positions, he is now up into P10. Or she, sorry, my apologies. She is now up into P10, but he's only 4 thousandths behind Beaver. And, well, that's saying quite a bit, because the Mercedes is heavily quicker than the Williams. So, that lap is a lot better than we expected it to be. As Ritzy seeing his reserve Crispy spinning out. Obviously, Ritzy, the manager of Alpine, seeing that, and, well, he probably wasn't very happy about that nonetheless, as he gave Crispy a chance. And, well, it hasn't entirely gone out of qualifying. He's still potentially into Q2. We'll just have to see how everyone else behind will improve, especially with the likes of maybe Toneless, Ardell, maybe even John. We'll have to see. But we'll stay with Beaver for now, as he's currently on a lap as a couple of drivers retiring. And Beaver currently a little bit down on his time, but it's only marginal, so he can still find enough improvement in this lap time to possibly go up a little bit. He is quite a ways away from the danger zone, around 6/10. That may not be much, but it is crucial as he is going round now to turn 10. Nice and easy onto the throttle now, going down the DRS straight. What's a Sector 2 split saying? He is up on his lap time. Don't believe that purple Sector 2. If a Williams can do a purple Sector 2, it might as well be George Russell in Belgium, but that's not the case. And Beaver now going in the final corners. I believe Phantom improved up to P9. And Thomas went up to P14. John went up to P17. As Beaver's going to come across the line, he's going to go ahead of Phantom, and he will be safely through into Q2. And we're now going to wait for Smeggy, who I believe might be on a qualifying lap. Is he? He's marginally down, so it's going to be very, very tough if he can get himself into Q2. Oh, but he goes straight into the wall. Straight into the wall goes the Aston Martin. And not only has he lost his front wing, but he lost a shot at Q2. That is Smeggy out of qualifying, along with John, Ardell, and Cam, who unfortunately crashed out. So both Aston Martins out, one Williams, one McLaren. The other Williams, however, is through, and quite comfortably. Sanchez barely making it in by the skin of his teeth.
Hello, my life.
I don't know, I'm talking a lot, my apologies.
Oh, you're good. Like I said, I've been trying to do ACC stuff, and it's just...
Yeah, that's fair. Is Daniel saying you should have this commentary team for you? Well, that might be an issue for me, because unfortunately I do have a job around that time, so... Oh! Okay! Smeggy just crashed into the pit lane.
Oh, L.
Well, that was interesting. But anyways, so, once again, knocked out Cam, Ardell, John, and Smeggy, the 4 drivers that are leaving qualifying and moving into qualifying 2. And, well, Q1 is finished, and it's Hoopolicious. Once again, at the top of the session, ahead of NAF, ahead of Port. So it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Ferrari, Red Bull, followed closely by an Alpine in 6th.
Both passes in 7th and 8th right now, too. That's a good sign. And then you got Williams in 9th. The other Alfa Romeo, or the first Alfa Romeo in 10th. And the other Mercedes in 11th. And my screen just went bye-bye.
Well, Sufi was 11th. I saw that. Sufjan is 11th.
Thomas Sczther, I think, was up there, too. I think he was 14th.
Yeah, he managed to scrape through into Q2 after what looked like a bit of a troubling qualifying, potentially. He didn't really do many laps, I don't think. But he was able to get through quite easily. And now, going into Q2, we'll see if he could potentially have a chance at Q3. Life indeed does come first, Daniel. It does.
And
I honestly... He has, so hopefully you can get him an invite back. But, yeah. If I didn't have a job, I would probably commentate, but I do have a job. So, nonetheless, unfortunately I can't.
That is a problem.
That's odd. I'm pretty sure he is on Xbox.
Right, but the problem is
Really,
he's not in the top 15, so...
Oh. Just search up his username.
It's too much work.
Not that hard. Oh, please. Suck it up.
I will leave.
You can deal with it. Daniel's saying in the chat that he's predicting Axe will get pole position. The Haas on pole. We've never seen a Haas on pole, so that is going to be very difficult. But if Axe can manage that, praise the Lord. But we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, he can get into Q3, no problem. He's already managed to get into Q3 quite a few times. And, well, same with the other Haas. Drix hasn't, but Alphanesis definitely has. So now, through to Q2. And now it is 11th down to 15th. That will get knocked out in potentially get knocked out in qualifying here. And this is be wary, by the way. This is the first time I've ever done a full qualifying commentary, so bear with me a little bit if I become a little bit boring. But it is what it is. But yeah, bottom 5, 11th down to 15th are going to be knocked out in qualifying, and obviously there is no tire rule, so that doesn't really play a factor. So now it's just a matter of making sure you get the lap in once again and getting yourself into the third part of qualifying to go for pole. For some teams that might be a bit difficult, but for teams like Ferrari right here as a Port, who's currently going to be the first one to set a lap time, followed by Nath, it should be pretty easy for the Ferraris.
The keyword is should be.
Yes, should be. Because obviously obviously they have the pace. It's shown many times. They have not had the best of luck this season, yet needless to say. But their luck seems to have changed around a little bit this season. Obviously, with Nath and Port at the team, showing their hand already in Belgium, getting a 1-2 in qualifying. The race, however, well, the race was a little bit interesting. But nonetheless, though, they've had the pace. And, well, unfortunately, things haven't really gone their way. They do have a win, luckily, courtesy of Nath, as, Port has a huge moment out of turn 10. Manages to save the car, though, but that is going to be absolutely detrimental to his qualifying, because that's going to leave him a little bit down the order compared to where he wants to be. But yeah, Ferrari not having the best of seasons, but hopefully they can end this season on a high, especially in the second half.
I mean, there's still a lot of racing left to happen here in the season, so we'll have to, like you said, wait and see what happens.
That is very true. Port's going to top the session, but that's going to be easily beat, and indeed it is by Nath, who actually sets a time that was slower than his Q1 time, I believe. So, Nath not able to, I guess, convert. And that might be detrimental, as Sczther's going to come across the line, and he actually goes out to P2. So, and once again, a little bit slower than what he did in Q1. So maybe the track either isn't quite rubbered in, or there's just not enough grip to really do anything.
Go on board with you for a second.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Hoop is on Inters as well.
Oh, that I did not see. Why? I'm confused.
And he's actually going to do a lap.
Yeah, Beaver's on a lap.
Not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure what their idea is, as Beaver's going to come across the line on those inters. Well, to be fair, he's only 3 seconds off on a set of inters.
Or
That's honestly kind of... What's the word? Unbelievable, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know. You English, I don't.
You, I English, you respond.
I try.
You do try. And well, you're here for a reason, I guess. Is it raining for the drivers?
I don't see any rain.
I'd be
The sun's
surprised
out.
if it was. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. They're just playing.
You see what Phantom does across the line. He's gonna go P8. Loop
Just
across
around a
the
tenth and a
line.
half
Hey,
behind its teammate.
wow, okay.
It's just funny, honestly. It's just funny. He goes up to P9. He's 1.1 off of Phantom. It is not raining for the drivers, can confirm. Well, I would hope it wouldn't be. If it was raining, I'd be kind of concerned. But luckily that isn't the case, so thank you, Ritzy, for confirming, I suppose. We love Ritzy. Oh, okay. Well, you heard it from Deemer. I'm just saying, Ritzy. I can't contribute. I cannot contribute.
No, you can. You just don't want to.
You're not wrong. So let's look over at Cookie for a second here. So, Cookie, going through the season, obviously in previous seasons, he at the start of one season, he's always had quite a few unfortunate moments, needless to say, and that's cost him championship-wise. But last season, as it proved, in the second half, he could be absolutely electric in the Red Bull, and he can go on to take the championship, as he did last season, obviously being a one-time champion, whereas his teammate is a two-time champion. And, well, Cookie obviously going for his second, and the start of this season has been forgiving, needless to say to him, because he has finished on the podium in every single race he's participated in, except for Hungary, where he finished P4. Every race he started, he's finished in the top 4. That's almost George Russell-esque, but better, because he's actually winning. So, Cookie has been pretty consistent, and that's showing. He's not entirely the best in qualifying, but in the race, he's able to do something. So be sure to watch out for that Red Bull, as he's going to go top of the session with a 110.9.
Yeah, that's just amazing. You know, like you're saying, you know, anything can happen. Especially, you know, with the mid-season turnaround. You know, obviously one of the seasons I can recall, and you can recall, season 7, 2 seasons ago, was my first season on a wheel, and we took a break, and then I just turned the season around, and I started scoring decent points. So anything can happen, you know, just keep doing it and keep being repetitive and consistent, just put the laps together. So
Yeah, that's just really the key in terms of the second half, just making sure you have everything right, and that's exactly what you did. And in the end, that actually helped you win the Constructors for Alfa Romeo back in Season 7. Obviously, I remember that, because that was my first year commentating, or first season, rather. And, well, I commentated that season myself, but, yeah. Just being consistent, really, is that key. That's exactly what Cookie has done, and it shows, being the championship leader by 22 points. And, well, he's going to try and extend that gap in the championship, because he hasn't DNF'd. And, well, that's been absolutely crucial, whereas his rivals, I believe Sczther has DNF'd once.
tricks!
Indeed, he has. It's, oh! Lost the rear.
You hit that curve that
I
I was talking
believe
about.
that is turn 8. I mean, the outside?
Inside.
Ah. Obviously, that being a raised curb, I believe. So, yeah. hitting that curb can be detrimental, and we'll see if that is going to play a factor here in qualifying. Right now, he needs to set a lap time if he wants to make it through into Q3. So currently right now, it's sitting in the bottom 5, is Phantom, Hoop, Drix, Toneless, and Dayton. Though Dayton, he is on a lap right now, and, well, what's his sector time saying? There's a lot of yellow flags. And going through the sector 2 split, he is purple. Obviously, him being in a Rebel, that's believable. So we'll see if the Rebel... Ooh, little squirrely there on the exit, though, with turn 12. But he's managed to keep the car under control. Now going through the final corner, the banking. Can he go up to where his teammate is? I would not be surprised if he does. Comes across the line. And he actually goes better than his teammate. And Dayton goes top of the session in Q2 and sees himself probably safely through into Q2.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a play for you. You want to say this is a yellow flag, is that beaver around it is. You want to save as much tires, or as many tires as you can for Q3. You do get a new set going into Q3, but you still never know how many tires these guys used beforehand.
That is very true. It depends on how many qualifying laps they do on either an old set or a new set. There's all a bunch of different factors when it comes to qualifying. Obviously, a tire rule isn't a thing. That was a thing back in last season. Whereas if you got into Q3, you must start on the tire that you qualified in Q2. That's not a thing anymore. And, well, for people that didn't know that, where have you been? Yeah, that's not a thing anymore, so they don't really have to worry about that. It's just a matter of getting themselves through. Well, Nath is certainly going to do that as he tops the session with a 110.6 in the Ferrari. Once again, back on top of the session. Meanwhile, his teammate coming around the final corner. Port needs to get his lap in to make sure he has a shot. And he moves himself all the way up into P4. So, with that, that should be the Ferrari safe into Q3. And Hoop also set a lap earlier that put him good enough for P5. And, well, once again, the Mercedes showing his hand in qualifying, being up there with the top 4, the top 2 teams, the top 4 drivers. And, well, now he should be safely into Q3. Meanwhile, his teammate, though, as Cookie retires in the session, his teammate, though, currently is sitting in P12. Friday needs to find a lap to see him into Q3. And, well, G is currently going out on track now. By the way, I might as well mention this while I'm looking at a Mercedes. Have you seen the new sports liveries?
No.
Well, the F1 page of, I guess on Twitter, for the game, released a few pictures, I guess, of the sports update, which is basically updating all the cars' liveries. I've been waiting for that for a while, and, well, they're finally going to come out. It's going to come out next week, so we're going to see a bunch of different cars, to put it simply. The Ferrari, though, might be pretty much unchanged, so we won't see a difference in there. The Mercedes, however, the Mercedes is going to have a big change as Port retires, and that is a Williams around, that being Beaver. Yeah, the Mercedes, it's going to have a different halo. The front wing is going to change. The rear wing is going to change. The side pod difference is going to be not huge, but it's going to be noticeable, I guess. So we're going to see a very different Mercedes. Same with the Red Bull. The Red Bull's going to be reprofiled in terms of the look of it. And I personally can't wait for that. The Aston Martin, I'm waiting for a change for this one. He's going to have a big change. It's now going to have Red Bull-esque side pods now with a black halo, finally. And, well, the Aston Martin going to have a big change. Same with the McLaren. Looking over at Sufi, the McLaren's also going to have a change with its side pods. And also with sponsors and the rear wing. Yeah, there's gonna be a huge jumble up in terms of liveries, in which I personally cannot wait for that.
Yawn.
I have to agree. Well, actually, no, because I'm eating food.
6. I'm eating a root barrel.
That is a mood. That is a mood. Right now, the top 5 have currently retired from the session. They should see themselves safely through into Q2. Let's stay on board with the McLaren of Sufjan, the lonesome McLaren, right now in Q2. And we'll see if he can put himself into Q3. And Sufi, well, he has been doing pretty good in that McLaren. Needless to say, they actually backs off, so he's gonna potentially recharge or go for another lap. He's gonna have to be careful because I believe... No, never mind, Drix is not on a lap. My apologies. So, never mind that.
Friday
Yeah,
goes
Sufi
P9 for the moment. Sorry to cut you off.
Does, so finds a decent amount of improvement. Is that going to be enough, though, for the Mercedes to see himself through into Q3? Well, Crispy's going to come across the line, and he goes all the way up to P7. So right now it's a Q3 spot for Crispy. And now, Friday, currently on the bubble here in qualifying, and this will be absolutely huge in terms of the constructors if Friday gets knocked out in Q2.
Yeah, it was up
so he's going to be watching those timing sheets. Going to be watching those timing sheets and thinking this is going to be a little bit tight. It's going to be a little bit close. Beaver comes across the line. He does not improve his lap time. He will not make it through into Q2. Phantom comes across the line, but he will not improve on his lap time, so he'll only go up to P12. And, well, ahead of his teammate as it stands at the moment. What about of his teammate, though? Sanchez comes across the line, just goes ahead of Phantom, but once again, he is also out as well. Sufi on a lap. He's currently going through Sector 2 as it stands at the moment. Meanwhile, Toneless...
At the end. But,
no,
yep.
Sector 2. Sector 2 now. Toneless marginally improving on his lap time is the AlphaTauri. Is he going to find enough time to move himself up into Q3 as Friday has retired from the session? Sczther moved himself up into P4, by the way, so he should see himself safely through into Q2. Toneless comes into the pits, so he is not going to be able to improve. He will start 15th. Meanwhile, Sufjan, he's not finding enough improvement, is the McLaren, so I think he's going to come into the pits, and indeed he does. So not really anybody improving enough to mount and challenge, so Friday is through into Q2 by around a 10th and 200ths. So pretty close, but the Mercedes is in, and we have lost the AlphaTauri of Toneless, Beaver in the Williams, both Alfa Romeos with Sanchez ahead of Phantom, and Sufjan from Q2. Moving on to Q3, Nath on top here in Q2, the Ferrari once again showing his pace. Just waiting for Crispy to come into the pits right now. It should be good. There we go. So with that, Nath tops the session ahead of Dayton and Cookie. So it's Ferrari and then the two Red Bulls, followed by an Alpine and the other Ferrari. And, well, both Ferraris are in, both Alpines are in, both Haas's, Mercedes, and Red Bulls. So it's rather 2 and 2, to put it simply, into Q3. And Sufjan, unfortunately not able to make it, neither does Sanchez or Phantom. Beaver not making it in either. And Toneless unable to find improvement on his lap time. Those will be the 5 knocked out as we go for pole in Q3. Who can grab pole here in the Dutch Grand Prix? And who's going to have the advantage and the run into turn 1? As Friday is saying that she sucks in qualifying, which honestly she said it, so I'll say it. It's kind of true, but you know, the race is where it matters, and well, that's where Catra has been good. So hopefully we'll see what he does in Q3. Hopefully he can get that Mercedes up into a decent position, especially considering the likes of his teammate, Hoop, being on pole 5 times and consistently being in the top 5 every single session. Sorry for the slight silence. I was eating food.
I was here to say,
Can't stop me from eating food.
Did you die or something? Where'd you go?
No, bro, I have steak and I don't want it to go cold.
Oh, dude.
Alright?
Did you add a little salt and pepper to it? Like, just for a little seasoning?
Yes.
Oh, dude,
Yep.
okay. We can be friends now.
Of course, why would I not do it? It brings so much flavor, come on.
So, I did an experiment the other day. No, this was quite a while ago. While we wait. Don't say "oh no" like it's a bad thing.
But it's you.
So I took a pan. Of course, it was during the middle of winter, so I couldn't cook on a grill. I took a pan. I put some butter in it, like sautéed the pan in butter. And what I did was I put the salt, pepper, and we had some garlic powder. And I put it on the steak, and I cooked it at like a low simmer, so that way it would like, the flavor would stick. And dude, oh my gosh, it came out so good.
It's great when sometimes you do experiments and it turns out beautifully. Like, I don't know how it doesn't happen, like how that happens, but it just works, alright? That's just simply how it is. Phantom saying in the chat that he's time to chill into the pits. Now the question is will he get points? And he's already asking for me to not commentators curse him, but unfortunately I can't control that. So Phantom, if it happens, I'm sorry. If it doesn't, then the curse didn't work. I don't know, but we'll see. Obviously, you have been known to do that, but we'll just have to see come the end of the race. And well, we're not at the race yet. We're currently still in qualifying. Right now, it's the top 10 shootout to go for pole position. And well, could it be one of the Ferraris? Could it be one of the Red Bulls? Will it be Hoop once again grabbing his 6th? All to play for here in qualifying. Could be a Haas too, yeah. You never know. Who will get the timing absolutely correct? It's just a matter of setting the lap and putting in the work. And that is what these drivers are trying to do, as Axe is going to be the first person to come across the line. I think that might be followed by Crispy further back. To see Axe going to come across the line now, and he sets a 1:11.8, and that's actually Sczther that's going to come across the line, but he dives right into the pits, and instead it's Hoop now that goes on to provisional pole, but then now it's Dayton who quickly replaces them, and then it's Nath. Nath currently on provisional pole. What about if his teammate lines up in 2nd? So right now, it is currently a Ferrari 1-2, but Friday's going to come across the line. He moves himself up into P5, and Boss Cookie going right into the pits, so he will not set a lap time here in qualifying. Well, as it stands in the moment. So Ferrari currently top in the session, 1 and 2. Nath by quite a decent margin, 4/10. Port grabbing P2 by 2 milliseconds. So 2nd down to 4th, very close already.
What's in store for the race?
God knows. Who knows? As Crispy's going to come across the line, but that's not really a competitive lap time for the Alpine, a 1:32.4. It's not.
So is it just me, or does Oops, I kind of look like a McDonald's French fry holder?
His helmet?
Yeah.
Is it the fish?
No, it's a yellow and red helmet. It reminds me of like.
I'm not sure what it would be.
It reminds me of the holder thing, the thing that they put them on. Yeah. Okay.
English.
Nope. we're not gonna continue.
Malfunction. Nice malfunction. Wouldn't it be the first time we've had a malfunction? Let's be real.
We no work no more.
It wouldn't be the first time.
No, it won't be the last.
Certainly not be the last. I already know it. Yeah.
Is
anyone surprised? No.
Tomorrow I'm gonna be commentating Tier 1 or Tier 2, and I'm just gonna be like, dude.
Tomorrow? Yeah, Tier 3 tomorrow. What do you mean?
Oh, I mean,
you're racing that.
Yeah, yeah. See, English, bad.
I think that's just a matter of forgetting where you're at right now.
Dude, I forget what day it is.
You know what? That's honestly fair. I've kind of been like that. I can't disagree with that. Like, I swear, I thought it was Wednesday. Like, genuinely thought it was Wednesday. Crispy, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's currently gone
He's got no
a little bit
ERS.
quicker. I don't know what he's doing. We're gonna stay on board with the Haas, though, of Drix. And right now he's set a... Ooh, getting really squirrely, but he set a purple Sector 1. I don't know if that's true or not. But right now the Haas going through to Sector 2, right, and then left, entering the turn 10. And he's gonna open up that DRS, getting nice and close onto that curve, then running out wide onto that exit curb. I think some drivers, by the way, might be going for 3 laps, because Nath, Dayton, Hoop, and Axe all currently on an outlap once again. And they might be trying to go for 3 laps here in qualifying, which honestly might be possible, because this track isn't very long. We'll see, as Drix is going to come across the line in the Haas. Right now his teammate, currently P6 with 11.8. Drix goes up to P5, getting ahead of Friday, and putting that Haas up with a 111.5. So once again, the Haas showing his pace here in qualifying. And, well, it shows. So now a couple of people are now going into the pits. I believe Cookie is now going to start his flying lap. And indeed he is. Hasn't set a lap time in qualifying yet. He is gonna set one now with a 120.6, but he wasn't using ERS and he kind of backed off at the final couple of corners. So Cookie now gonna be on his one and possibly only flying lap, because it's gonna be a bit difficult for time. We'll see if it's possible though. Right into the next person that's going to come across the line to set a lap time. It's not going to be Sczther. Never mind. It's going to be Dayton in the Red Bull. And it's a purple Sector 2 as it stands at the moment. However, he's only marginally up. And that is Cookie. That has gone completely off. That's at turn 7. Going into turn 8. And, well, luckily he hasn't retired, so he won't start P9. He could potentially go even better, as Dayton is actually going to go right into the pits, despite being up on his lap time. What about Hoopolicious? He is going to come across the line. Where does he put that Mercedes? Moves all the way up into second place as Nath goes even faster and puts himself on even further on pole position with a 110.3. That might be a bit difficult to beat, as Axe, by the way, improved on his time, and he went up into P6 with a 111.2. Just a tenth and a half behind the Alphanesis and Sczther. So a really good lap time there from the Haas.
I think Cookie just messed up his teammate. I think.
Oh. I'm talking about going into the pits?
I think I lied. Yeah, I lied.
Nah. They got time. They're fine.
Yeah, I lied. No, the only reason I said that was because I thought, I saw Dayton's mechanics getting ready to send it out.
He already went out, though. Yeah, so that wouldn't have made sense.
Right, but I'm saying he's in the pits. I saw his mechanics getting ready to send him back out.
Nah.
As that is.
He's probably going to wait until near the
Friday.
end of the session. Friday coming out of the pits. Indeed she is. So Friday,
And
now
Cookie.
getting ready to set her final flying lap in qualifying, as actually Crispy's going to come around the first corner, and he's going to set, potentially, his first lap time. And by the way, I don't know if you're seeing it, but I'm seeing that Alpine porpoise like crazy.
No.
On my screen, he was porpoising, so yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. He's porpoising on my end, and he's nearly 8 seconds up on his lap time, so that's how he knows that he wasn't really he wasn't really on good lap times. But now he is on a lap time, is the Alpine, and well, Crispy has not really had a good time here in realistic. He hasn't finished in the points. He hasn't had a good run, to put it simply. Now he's 10 seconds up on his lap time, is the Alpine. And, well, that should be an improvement to at least put him up P9, but he's definitely going to go higher than that. We'll see if he could potentially try and challenge both the Haas's for P6. Coming around the final corner does the Alpine. Where does he put that car? Well, never mind. He only goes out to P9. Never mind. My mistake. So he is only going to go P9. A couple of tenths of drift from Friday, in which Friday currently starting his final flying lap. Same with Cookie, so we'll stay with Cookie right now. The championship leader, as it stands at the moment, 22-point gap to Sczther behind. Sczther currently lining up in 5th. Cookie having to put this lap in. He knows where he needs to put that car. And he has put that car there multiple times. May not be on pole, but it's definitely good enough. And he's already 2 seconds up on his time. However, it is not a purple sector 1.
Yeah, just staying on board with Cookie. He navigates turn 7 nicely this time, not hitting that inside curve like he did last lap. That was not what he needed there. Going in through turn 10 into turn 11. Now let's see what he does through the second sector. That's the purple sector 2. 7 tenths up on his lap time almost. Get a Ferrari to negotiate with
Ferrari. Actually, that might give him slipstream. Nope, he might actually. Oh, that's the Red Bull around through the penultimate corner, getting on that curb, and that has ruined Cookie's qualifying. He will start 10th.
Oh,
and he collides with the Alpine. That's crispy. And he gets a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Crispy, as Friday has retired for the session. Will not start better than P8. Same with Axe. Horrible accident here in qualifying, as Port is going to come across the line. No, he doesn't. He backs out on his lap. But that is absolutely detrimental for the championship leader. 5-place grid penalty. He will start 15th. Not what he wanted. Meanwhile, his teammate coming around the final corner through the banking, currently landing up in 5th, would dearly love to be higher than that. And he only goes up 1 position, will go up into P4. Hoop, though, is going to come across the line. He doesn't beat Nath here in Zandvort tonight, so Nath spins round. But it might be good enough for qualifying still if Sczther's retired. So, despite that spin, Nath is going to keep that pole position. He did that on his second lap, but his pole, once again, for the Ferrari. His 3rd pole position here in Realistic. And, well, once again, showing that he is the right man that Ferrari wanted. And Cookie saying he doesn't know why he was ghosted in that collision. And to be honest, I don't exactly blame him. He should have been ghosted. He was right in the middle of the track. And Ritzy's saying, simply lovely. Well, there you have it. Nath goes on to pole position, just over a 10th ahead of Hoopolicious. Sczther going up into 3rd place. Once again, another good qualifying for the Alpine ahead of Dayton. There is Port rounding out the top 5. Then it's Axe in 6th ahead of Drix. And then it's Friday in 8th ahead of Crispy. Cookie didn't exactly set a competitive lap time. And with that, along with a collision with Crispy, he will start 15th. The championship leader starting outside the top 10. He might have a bit of a tough time negotiating through the rest of the pack to move himself back up to where he needs to be. By the way, I don't know what the weather report is going to be like. I never saw anything about it. So, the conditions for the race, I'll just leave it at unknown. And Phantom expressing his opinions on the track. I will not repeat it because, well, that wouldn't be very That wouldn't be very good for the tier. No, and for Twitch. So I'll leave it at that. Somewhat cloudy skies, but the sun is still out, so we're looking at potentially a dry session here in qualifying. And, well, 36 laps of the Dutch Grand Prix should be an easy one-stop from medium to hard or hard to medium, but with realistic, there's always a chance of an early safety car and a late safety car. Never count anything out. We'll just have to see what will pan out here in qualifying. I mean, not qualifying. Wow. Okay. Qualifying. Sorry. In the race, as we are just under 10 seconds away from starting this race. It's gonna be an interesting one. Hope you guys stay for the tour. Tour? Yeah, tour. As the fiber lights are coming on for the Dutch Grand Prix here in Zandvort tonight! It's lights out, and away we go! Looks like a pretty decent start for the Ferraris. Getting immediately cut across the Mercedes, and Hoopolicious is going to dive on the inside into turn one. That is Dayton moving out of place, and that is him crashing out. There's a huge load of contact. Both Red Bulls are down. Crispy is down, same with Axe, but Nath still leads from Hoopolicious, from Sczther, then it's Drinks ahead of Port, ahead of Friday, and then Sanchez, Smeggy in the top 8, Sufi 9th, Ardell in 10th. Both Aston Martins having a brilliant start. Nath still having to cover off Hoopolicious for the lead of this race. He's managing to do so, but Hoop giving everything he can to get past the Ferrari. Nath working like a bus. There's a bit of contact though. Nath able to keep that car in check, but the two Red Bulls, and no! Huge contact between Hoop and Nath. I don't know how Hoop didn't spin, but now he's going to be under pressure from Drix behind, but Drix not able to do anything. A chaotic start. Nath leads from Hoop. Both Red Bulls in 18th and 20th. Horrible start for the Red Bulls.
I think one of them does have wing tail issue. I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, Dayton doesn't have a front wing.
Yeah, Dayton doesn't have a front wing. Cookie,
no.
Unsure. Oh, and that's John. That is John in the Williams. He's lost his front wing, and that is going to cause a virtual safety car. So already a virtual safety car has been called out on lap 1 of this Grand Prix. Beaver gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as we have 4 drivers diving straight into the pit. That being Beaver, Raptor, Dayton, and John. John gets a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane as well. But a chaotic start that sees one Red Bull in the pits a long ways down, and the other Red Bull down in 16th. Whereas he started, well, he only started one place higher, but still.
Can we talk about what just happened?
What happened?
I'm gonna clip it and I'll send it in the chat. I jumped on board with Date. His car pulled into the garage, and then he reappeared back onto the circuit.
Oh. That's interesting.
So I don't
Never seen that
know.
before.
I don't know. Like I said, I'll upload it when the race is done.
It's definitely a glitch. It has to be.
Right. And I'll send it in, but, like, what?
Yeah, bit of a weird moment there.
And we're back racing. Oh my
That's
gosh,
obviously...
Nath. Oh, where'd this come from? Oh, look
Yeah,
at
Nath
Sczther.
pulling a huge gap, and now Hoop is going to be under pressure from Sczther. Sczther on the inside into turn 1, nearly making contact, does the Mercedes and the Alpine, but Hoop able to keep it around the outside. Does he have the edge over the Alpine? Yes, he does. So Hoop able to stay ahead and into second place. Sczther giving it everything he can to pressurize that Mercedes, but has nothing doing in the moment. But Nath leads by 1.4 seconds ahead of Hoop, ahead of Sczther. Then comes Port, and then it's Drix. And then Friday ahead of Sanchez. Smeggy in 8th.
Boy.
Smeggy having a
Oh,
great start to this race. And that is the Aston Martin. And Ardell is out of the race. That's near the end of Sector 1 as well. I'm pretty sure you caught that. What happened?
Who was he battling with? Oh, Thomas. They touched. Ardell just kind of got loose and then got on the grass and the dirt, and his car just said, okay, bye.
Well, track has been cleared, so there's not going to be a chance of a safety car, and that'll be... I think that'll please the likes.
From 2nd to 9th.
Oh, and there's contact! I saw Cookie and Crispy battling it out, and Crispy hit the back of the Red Bull, but Cookie manages to move his way through. He's up into 14th and making his way up as Nath sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:14.0, and Cookie is going to make another move, but this time on the Haas of Axon. He's going to have that move done by the time to make it to turn 1. He's having to fight a little bit, but Cookie has that position, and he moves himself up into 13th, maybe even into 12th as he's on the back of Toneless, but he doesn't make a move.
Yeah, he's just looking for this move. Oh,
he's going to go for the move now at the banking. There you go. I don't know if that's team orders or not, but that is exactly what the Rebel would have wanted. He's now up into 12th. He's going to try and chase after Phantom as Cam. We haven't really mentioned Cam. He's starting 19th. Look at him. He's up to 8th.
Bad traction.
Well, it's also avoiding what happened to turn 1.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like,
I mean,
as simple as that.
I saw Axe get spun, and then my whole, like, leaderboard just kind of blocked off everything else. So I don't know what happened. This Cookie gets a little bit loose coming out of turn 10.
All I saw was Taylor spun round, and then I saw Axe, and then everything just kicked off. It was as simple as that. I don't know how it happened, but it definitely happened. And well, that's the result that we were given. Meanwhile, battle for P5 potentially starting to ensue a little bit, as Friday is currently on the back of Drix, as Cookie makes another move. He's moved himself up into P11, as Axe makes a move on Toneless, and Toneless is now up, Axe is now up into 13th, Toneless down to 14th.
I don't know what battle to keep my eye on.
Yeah, there's a lot of battles going on here, which is kind of surprising knowing Zandvort. Let's look over at the most positions gained, and well, is the same person, is the same guy I just mentioned a while ago. There's a yellow flag, and that is Raptor. Gone round at turn 1, and he's got damage. He's got left end plate damage, as there's actually an Aston Martin that spun around, and wait a minute, the Alfa Romeo, and Nath, something has happened to the Ferrari. He's all the way down in 5th. What's happened?
I missed it.
I missed it as well, but now he's all the way down to 5th. He clearly could have had a bit of a moment, and now he's all the way down into P5, and now Hoop is leading the Dutch Grand Prix ahead of Sczther, and Port now in 3rd place. Though Nath immediately trying to make his way back up the order on the inside of Drix. Not really putting up much of a fight, does the Haas, and now Nath has made the move up for, into 4th, and Friday, yeah, she was looking for a little bit of a move into turn 1 as well, but he couldn't do anything about it, and well, she's gonna have to stay behind in P6. Drix managing to stay ahead in P5, and that might be beneficial because the Haas obviously having that straight line speed in relation to the Mercedes obviously being very draggy in relation to the Haas. And that might be helping Drix a little bit. He's going to have to be really careful because that Mercedes is all over the back of him. As Smeggy's retired, that is at turn 3, has completely crashed out.
Well, I feel bad for
Get a look.
That team.
On board, yeah, just lost the rear at turn 3, and that is him done and dusted. And both Aston Martins already out of the Dutch Grand Prix. Aston Martin once again showing that they have not really had a good season, and it shows. Oh boy, does it show. He's been at DRS his entire time. He's closed up a lot on that straight. Obviously, with the Alpine having really good straight line speed in relation to the Mercedes, and Sczther just barely hanging on. He's gonna have to be careful though, because if you look, Port is right there. Port not too far behind. And staying very nicely on the back, though. Look who's managing to catch up, though. Nath has closed out to these guys as well. Excuse me for the fork noise. I don't know if you heard that.
I heard nothing.
Oh, okay.
I heard my brain cell rattle around.
You know what? That's understandable. That's honestly understandable. As Friday's made a move. It's actually Drix is actually spun round. That is at turn 7 and turn 8. And he's lost a bit of his front wing.
That's not good.
As it happened to Cookie, it's done the same with Drix. And now, Drix having front wing damage on that Haas. But now, this has invited the likes of Cookie to move up once again. And Cookie now up into 8th and is now going to try and chase after Cam in the McLaren. Obviously, Cam having a brilliant start. Currently in P7, hanging on to the back of Sanchez. And, well, Cam just staying exactly where he needs to be. He's going to be under pressure, though, from Cookie. And I would not be surprised if these two potentially just if Cam potentially just lets himself by. Drix is into the pits, and that is going to be him changing his front wing. As meanwhile, look how close Port is on the back of Nath. He was nearly making a move. That is an AlphaTauri that's gone round now. And that looks to be a Raptor. Indeed it is. As we have a yellow flag once again. I believe John has just spun round. And indeed... No, actually, no, that's Beaver. Beaver spun round at turn 1. Oh, and he loses the rear multiple times there. But, once again, Williams having a bit of a poor moment. No, he doesn't. So clearly, the AlphaTauri is struggling here in Zandvort, whereas his teammate currently sitting in P11 as it stands at the moment, and potentially he could be looking for a move on Sczther. We'll have to wait and find out. Port having DRS on Sczther. Is he able to close enough? No, he doesn't. Not able to make a move. That straight is just not long enough. As meanwhile, Cookie has made the move on Cam. Now Cookie, from 15th, was 16th, now back up into the points and into 7th. So, quite a bit of a recovery drive right now for the Red Bull.
Now, is this out of frustration, or is this just out of anger?
Same thing.
I mean...
Frustration and anger are the same thing, dude.
Bring to work. Sanchez, where you going?
Oh! Going really wide there at turn 7, turn 8, and that's allowed Cookie and Cam as well to move up a place. Now Cookie's at the 6th, Cam up to 7th, Sanchez down to 8th. Potentially losing the rear? I don't know, but that's absolutely cost him.
We just kind of took a detour.
Pretty much. Not exactly a detour he would have wanted. Meanwhile, Crispy and Toneless going at it. Crispy able to make the move on Toneless. And now he moves himself up into 11th. Also on a recovery drive as well is the Alpine. He's now going to try and chase after Sufjan, though he gets a bit on the gravel. And that is not going to help him. Now he's going to have DRS. Sanchez is into the pits. So he might have had a bit of front wing damage after that off. I'm not entirely sure. Crispy unable to make a move on Sufjan. Sufjan able to stay in P9, but Crispy's now up into the points.
By the way, for Sanchez.
Yep, it is. And as you said, he's now on a set of the hard compound of tire. I think he should be able to go to the end. I think. It's going to be a bit tough, but I think he can do it.
Meanwhile, I just had the biggest yawn of my life. That's cool.
Fair enough. Oh, meanwhile, look at Cookie going around the outside of Friday, and what a beautiful move for the Red Bull. And on the straight, the Red Bull just easily pulls away, but that was a super move from Cookie as he moves himself up to P5, gets on the curb though, but is able to stay ahead. Cookie moves himself up into 5th. So clearly, this recovery drive is really working out for the Red Bull. And Cookie now has to catch up to Nath. He's got 3.7 seconds deficit to the Ferrari, whereas the Ferrari is currently trailing his teammate only just, though, as Port still trying to make a move on Sczther, but is not able to do anything about it. So top 4 kind of staying stationary, as Dayton sets the fastest lap now with a 1:13.6.
I think Port is thinking about the long game right now.
Potentially. Obviously, well, the thing is, though, both Sczther and Port are on a set of the hard compound of tire. So they're on the same strategy. Same with Nath, same with Hoop. The top 4 all on a set of hards. So they're all playing the long game here. And while as much as I know having that DRS is helpful, I don't think that Ferrari wants to stay on the back of that Alpine for the entire race.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's just playing the long game, knowing it's a long race with... I'm going to take a shot in the dark. 25 laps remaining?
Well, Hoop just came across the line, so yep, that is 25 laps.
Okay, yeah. So, think about the long game, you gotta take these tires, I want to say another maybe 10 laps, and then you can take the mediums to the end. I'm no expert, I haven't raced here yet, so I don't know this tire strategy. Can we go back to 21, where everything was soft, medium, soft?
To be honest, I kind of didn't like that, if I'm being perfectly honest, as Dayton has made a move on Phantom. Now Dayton has moved himself up into 12th, so once again, both Red Bulls really having a recovery drive, and Dayton moving up another position, up into 12th now.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, not really liking that soft, medium tire strategy.
The word is variety, and you know what game had variety?
None.
F1 2020.
No, you wouldn't know a game.
May have been only one stops, but those had actually hards and mediums. You're gonna say 2019, aren't you?
2018.
Ooh. Give me the pinky boys. Give me them pink tires.
Give me the
I honestly do miss that. Yes, I honestly do miss that. I'm not gonna lie.
Back when they had the rainbow
obviously,
tires.
Yeah. Obviously, this is easier because obviously red
Cam
tire, softest. Yep, Cam is into the pits, so this is going to be an undercut attempt for the McLaren. And that is a set of hard compounded tires, unsurprisingly, for the McLaren. And he's going to emerge potentially P13, so behind Phantom, but ahead of Sanchez. And I thought it was the AlphaTauri, but I think the AlphaTauri there is a Raptor who's already been lapped. But yeah, Cam emerging P13. Now he's gonna have to warm up those hards as soon as possible, because if he doesn't, that could potentially have an overcut from the drivers around him, which I believe the drivers around him were Axe, Friday, something along the line. Am I not mistaken on that?
He didn't get by Axe, did he?
He was already ahead of Axe, because obviously Axe had that moment.
No, I meant Friday.
Friday might have been ahead.
Okay, yeah, so...
I think he was ahead.
Yeah, so Friday, Axe, Crispy, Sczther, and Cookie. But Cookie, obviously has just that sheer pace. And Cookie stayed out. Friday stayed out. One thing
I don't know if that's waiting for a safety car or not.
It's lap 14. A lot of these guys are already blinking.
Obviously using up as much ERS as possible, and that's playing absolutely crucial, as meanwhile, Dayton, once again, another move for the Red Bull. I think Thomas didn't really fight that too hard, obviously being the sister team, as Raptors retire. That's at the banking!
That's the safety car.
Oh. Full course safety car. And that has played... I honestly... Oh, what's happened to the Ferrari? Port might have had a bit of a moment there, and has just allowed Nath to get ahead. But this has played into the likes of those that stayed out on the medium compounded tire.
Oh, no.
Oh, what are the Ferraris doing?
He got the glitch.
Was that an instruction? Was that a... what?
I think that was an instruction, but I think they got the glitch.
Not entirely sure. Nothing's really popped up in terms of, illegally overtaking.
So now, if you're on the hards, what do you do?
Oh, hang on a minute here. I think the Ferraris might be backing up to both go into the pits. That's exactly what's happened. Hoop gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, with that, Hoop now has this 5-second penalty. Sorry for the silence. But Hoop now has a 5-second time penalty, and now that is going to play into the likes of Sczther, Port, Cookie, Nath. And by the way, I noticed this. Nath backed up a little bit to allow a gap to Port, but that actually cost him Actually, no, that didn't cost him. That cost... Well, not really, because Cookie made up a position. But he backed up Cookie to the point where Ferrari not only had the gap, but Cookie got held up. If we've seen that in real life, I know I have, I'm sure you have. But that isn't allowed.
I didn't see nothing.
Well, I saw it.
It's sarcasm, bro.
I definitely saw it. Oh, well, how am I supposed to know that, dude?
You've known me for how long?
Am I
You
supposed to know
haven't
that?
figured this out yet.
Honestly, there's a lot of things I haven't figured out. One thing's for sure is that I'm still dumb. Anyways.
Beaver?
Oh! Beaver! 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
So he
That's not what
gets
he
rid
would
of
have
one.
wanted. And in turn gets a new one. It goes on to an old set of mediums.
I'm confused.
Maldonado?
Don't move. I'm yawning. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong. So, Hoop leads this race, now on a set of mediums, ahead of Sczther, ahead of Port. That's Cookie and Nath. From Nath, Port, Sczther, and Hoop, and Axe, as well as Crispy, Sufi, John, have all gone on to a set of mediums, because in reality, that's the only tire they had. However, Cookie, Friday, Cam, Dayton, Toneless, Sanchez, Phantom, Drix, they've all gone on to a set of hard compounded tire, and knowing how many laps there are left, this is looking pretty handy for the likes of Cookie, Friday, and Cam, and Dayton as well, because they can easily go to the end of this race without having to worry about tire wear. Everyone else on the medium are gonna be looking at that and thinking, when are these tires gonna drop off? Because that is really gonna play a factor in this race now. Barring if there aren't any other safety cars. And you've died. You don't know what to say, as Beaver gives a 3-second for speeding in the pit lane. I mean, sorry, exceeding track limits, as he goes into the pit lane. Well, he gets rid of that 5-second, that's for sure. And he doesn't get a 5-second violation. He actually has front wing damage. Not sure where that came from.
That's enough.
But he's gonna go... Yeah, he serves that 5-second, gets a front wing change, goes on to set the hard compounded tires, and actually, he... I'm not sure, actually.
Oh, this is a good song.
He might be able to stay ahead and not get lapped. So that's good for him. He only hits the pit wall, though. And now comes out into the pits. He manages to stay ahead of that safety car. But now I don't think he has enough time to to move himself up and catch up to that safety car. The safety car might be in this lap, to be perfectly honest. So Hoop is now in a bit of trouble, to put it simply.
So
Having that 5-second, and knowing that he was not really pulling away to the point where he was comfortably ahead of Sczther and Port. It was staying around like 2 seconds or so.
3.
So Hoop has quite a bit of work cut out.
9-second gap.
Yeah, 3. But it was still, he wasn't really close. He wasn't really increasing that gap.
Time,
there was that gap closing.
Time. It was kind of
like they were all pretty much similar pace. Yeah.
It was like,
so
it was hovering around 2.7 to 2.9 roughly per lap.
Yeah, so with that, that's showing that Hoop not exactly having superior pace.
I bet. So,
and,
side note, I bet John is smiling from ear to ear right now because he can see the field again.
Oh yeah, you probably can. As now, the safety car is in this lap, so it is Hoop's discretion as to when this race will resume. Obviously, you cannot overtake until they cross the start-finish straight. Hoop knows this. Sczther knows this. Everybody knows this, except for Cam and Axe, apparently. I'm not sure what's going on there. But Hoop, weaving around the track, getting temperature into his tires, It looks like he's going to go around at the banking, and indeed he has. So now Hoop pulling a decent gap, and that might be enough. And now he crossed the line. The race is now resumed to lap 18 of this Grand Prix. Hoop leads from Sczther, from Port, from Cookie, from Nath. It's Friday ahead of Axe. And so far, not really anybody switching except for Sanchez. And Toneless. Ooh! Huge moment, though, for the Alfa Romeo. He manages to keep the car on track, though. Sufi's now made the move on Toneless. And there was actually a switching between Cam and Crispy. Crispy's made the move. Oh, and that's a Mercedes! That is the Mercedes of Friday, who has completely spun round. And there's even more! That's a Red Bull! That is a McLaren! And an Alfa Romeo. Sanchez is
and a Red Bull.
Fridays is off. Dayton is off. Same with Cam. What has happened at the safety car restart? That is one driver out, 3 drivers having an unfortunate spin, and there's probably even more to go around as Tonus is under pressure from Drix, and it looks like Drix is going to be able to make the move, and indeed he does. The huge moments for a lot of people, and Dayton once again getting caught up in all the mess.
I don't even know what happened. I was on board with Friday to see what happened to her. And then you said there's even more. I looked at my map. I just saw a blob. I was like, that
was pretty much all it was. As Max has gone into the pits, it gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think, does the Haas have front wing damage? Yes, he does. Axe has a little bit of front wing damage.
Now
you don't go onto a set.
Back of Boss Cookie, and I was looking for a move. He's pushing him. Oh, this is a bumper car, boys.
This is NASCAR. Calm down. Yeah, Nath obviously having superior pace on the mediums, and that could have been a horrible collision. But luckily, it wasn't. Luckily for him, it wasn't. And now Nath losing a lot of time as a result of it. No, he spins round! Round to turn 10. The Ferrari once again with another moment.
Hey,
and that is going to lose him. That's going to put him all the way down to P9, maybe P10, as Dayton has crashed. And that is going to be a full course safety car. And looking on board from Friday, I am not surprised that that's a safety car. That Red Bull is parked in the middle of the track.
Can you say Nath has been saved?
He has. Well, pretty much. Because obviously he's able to catch up to the pack, but now he's down in a position where he doesn't want to be. And, well, that's not what Ferrari wants, to put it simply.
Hey, while we're on the
safety car,
I will be, Cam is left. I'll invite him real quick, and then I gotta go. Nope.
Invite him, then leave, I guess.
No, I'll be I'm not, like, leaving. I just gotta go do some work.
Yeah, I figured.
So, I will be back.
What's he saying, that Nath shouldn't have backed out?
Life over death, bro. Come on, you should know this.
No thanks, I choose life. Have you watched Ice Age? You know that quote.
I can relate to that character on so many levels.
Honestly, I can't. I'm not even wrong.
Just looks at him. Nothing. I choose life.
God.
That will be right back.
Alright, so yeah. My co-commentator will be back in a little bit. But yeah, for anybody that doesn't know what I referenced, that was Sid from Ice Age. But I'm pretty sure everyone would know that. Cam is back into the session, by the way. So he is, once again, in this race. Will hopefully try and claw his way back up into the points. And Friday, obviously, pitting as well under that safety car. Friday now having to try and catch up to the rest of the pack. His teammate obviously leading this race. Friday having, unfortunately, not the best time around the Dutch Grand Prix. We'll still have a chance of getting points, though. There's still plenty of time left in this race, around 16 laps left. We'll see when this race gets underway once again. I think, knowing what's going on, though, those on the mediums are probably seeing this and thinking, well, my race has just been made a little bit easier, because now those mediums won't be working as hard, so therefore there won't be that much wear. With that, it might be a little bit easier for them to go to the end. It still might be a bit touch and go, I think Hoop, Sczther, and Port are a little bit more in the running for this win. Well, not really Hoop, though. Hoop does have a 5-second time play. But Sczther, Port, though, do have a little bit more of a chance to win this Grand Prix. But however, Cookie does have the advantage in terms of the tires. So be sure to watch out for that. Well, looking over, once again, another quick mention, Phantom, once again in the points. I said it before, I'll say it again. Phantom, not exactly having the pace, but he does what he needs to do. He does what he needs to do. He gets the job done. And once again, likewise it was in the past few races, that Alfa Romeo is into the points once again. We'll see if he can hang on to that. Obviously, he has Drix behind him. Same with Nath, Tolnus, John, Beaver, Axe, Friday, and Cam. But we'll see. Hoop, penalty, L. Well, he's sped in the pit lane, so that's where that came from. So just looking at it right now, safety car should be in at the end of this lap, presumably. I was looking over, I think Fridays might have had a bit of a moment. Maybe not. Never mind. So, scratch that. Friday's now trying to catch up to the safety car, as is... Actually, Axe? Axe is also catching up, I think. But so is Cam as well, so we're just waiting on 3 drivers to catch up now. Nath is part of the, Nath is EU. He is EU, so he is up around that time. And, well, here he is. He's currently sitting in P8, obviously having an unfortunate spin, grabbing pole position earlier. He has a lot of work cut out for him if he wants to grab this win, or even a chance at the podium, and that is a McLaren! As Toneless has left the session, I'll try and get it back in, but now Sufi's just spun round. Try and get Toneless back in here, so excuse me for just a moment if I miss anything.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Thank you. You arrived just in time. And safety car is now in this lap. So, with that, the race will resume on lap 23 of this Dutch Grand Prix. So we'll have 14 laps of racing to the checkered flag. And, well, Hoop, once again, having his work cut out for him, has Sczther behind him. And same with Port and Cookie. Hoop is going to be desperate to pull a gap to potentially go for a podium. It's going to be a bit difficult, but can he do it? We'll just have to see. It looks like he is going to go racing, and indeed, he does. Sczther, though, not getting caught out by that whatsoever, and he is on the back of that Mercedes. The race is now resumed on lap 23, and Sczther goes for it on the inside. Hoop leaves in the space, and is going to keep it around the outside. Has Sczther made the move? There's a bit of contact, but Hoop able to stay ahead. But Sczther trying to seize an opportunity there. Hasn't really worked out, but Hoop leads still from Sczther, from Port, from Cookie. Then comes Crispy ahead of Nath. Nath has had a brilliant safety car restart, and he's ahead of Phantom and Drix. And then Beaver and John, both Williams in the points as it stands at the moment. Though it looks like Axe may potentially go for a move. Not quite. Staying behind for the time being. And both Williams somehow in the points. I don't know how this has happened. As he's trying everything to look for a move, as Nath has now made a move on Crispy, and that Ferrari's moved up another position, and he's up into 5th now. He's going to try and chase after the top 4 once again to potentially try and grab that top spot. Hoop starting to slowly pull away now from Sczther, so clearly the downforce of the Mercedes is just a bit too much for that Alpine, though the straight line it's a bit too much for the Mercedes, but actually it's not really, he's not gaining anything actually. That's rather surprising. And Hoop able to pull a gap on the straight. Sczther having to stay behind. Pretty easy move there for the Haas. Obviously the Haas being faster than the Williams, but he moves himself up into the points. Is now going to go and try and chase after Beaver, which Beaver obviously he does have a 3-second time penalty. And that is going to cost him, but Axe is going to want to move up even further. Of course he does. Why wouldn't he? So he's going to try and get ahead of that Williams as soon as possible, though Beaver is pretty close onto the back of Phantom, needless to say, as Crispy and Drix are going at it, and there's a bit of contact there between Phantom and Beaver. Oh, okay, this is getting real close as Beaver's trying to go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Hasn't made it work. There's a bit of contact once again. Beaver might be able to make the move, and indeed he does. There's a bit of contact once again, and he goes off the track as Phantom now loses the position to Axe, and Beaver having to cut across the gravel is now down into P10. That could be a stewards report later on, as we actually had a moment further back as Sufjan made a mistake. I think Cam just made a move on the banking, by the way. I completely missed that, but if he did, that's absolutely perfect there for the McLaren, and he moves up into P12. John trying to challenge around the outside, but the Williams just doesn't have the downforce to do that, and he will have to stay behind for it. Stay behind and potentially lose out. And the McLaren is now going to try and chase after Friday, which Friday is making his way back up on the pack. No, you're right the first time. Yeah, you're good. Oh, and that's the Haas! Oh, what? Never mind. What? Okay. I saw Axe just completely lose the car, and then he reset, well, not reset, but like he just teleported back on track. But he makes the move on Crispy with DRS. Instead of spinning, he is, I guess you could say, winning as he moves up another place. And that's Cookie! Yeah, that definitely looked like a reset, but Cookie has lost the car, lost the place to Nath and to Drix, and now the Red Bull is down into 6th. Not the day that the championship leader would have wanted. Not what Red Bull wanted either. Obviously, Hoop pushing everything he can to go better than to potentially get a podium, as we have a yellow flag, and that is Sufi. That's my thing. That's my thing. Yep, my thing is glitched. As meanwhile, there's a battle for P11 going on. Look at Cam and Friday. And Friday losing out to the McLaren. Cam having a lot of grip and a lot of pace, and that McLaren has moved himself up into 11th. Sufi, however, in the other McLaren, has retired from the session, and Sufi is out of the Dutch Grand Prix. We have lost 6 drivers from the Dutch Grand Prix. Quite a crazy Dutch Grand Prix it has been, and we still got 10 laps of racing left to go. That's going to be near enough difficult. I feel like that's going to be pretty much near enough impossible to even close up to that Ferrari, let alone overtake him. Lovely. Meanwhile, battle for P10. Actually, no, never mind. There was a battle for P10, but Cam has just spun around.
Oh boy, that's an L.
Damn it, L? Bro. And Zach, okay, the McLaren manager, clearly not happy about that.
Well, just got confirmation from Zach. We can hear me again. Woohoo! Throw party!
Okay, there we go. I don't know how you messed that up, but anyways.
Well, so I went through a lag spike, and I'm assuming when that happened, it just decided to disinclude my audio. So I had to re-click the audio box again.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So, now the stream can hear me again. If Nath catches up to Port, you think they'll swap?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. Because, as it stands at the moment, they have quite similar pace, needless to say. Two Ferraris, pretty similar on pace. The gap between them has been staying pretty level. Nath barely catching up. So Port's doing the exact thing that Nath is doing, and if we look at their fastest laps, well, never mind the fastest laps, because Port is quite a way slower, but at this stage of the race, Port is on the same pace and the same level as Nath as it stands at the moment. So it's set to see. But as it stands at the moment, both the Ferraris can't really catch up to the back of Sczther and Hoop, as Sczther obviously having DRS on the back of that Mercedes, and that is helping that Alpine pull away from Port. They are indeed going to switch, and Axe has now moved himself up into 6th. He pitted early. And well, look what that's put him now. He's into P7. And he's looking comfortable to take that.
Came on the inside of John in T1. He's going to get the move done.
Easy move there for the McLaren. Obviously, the Williams not able to compete. And Cam moving himself up into 12th is now going to try and catch up right back onto the back of Friday. Whereas Friday closing in slowly but surely on Crispy. Crispy holding on to that P10. Only just, though, is actually Crispy going deep, going wide. And, well, that was just, that was just cherry pickings, basically, for Friday. Moves himself up into P10.
Yeah, Cookie's
gonna make that any easier.
Time, but it's weird.
He's barely gaining time, to put it simply. He's not gaining enough. I think
yeah, he's not.
The P5 is gonna be the best result.
Yeah, it's staying put.
Yeah, unless something happens to the top 4, I believe Cookie is gonna get P5. P5 minimum. As meanwhile, moves going on across the board as Crispy and Friday going at it. Was that a bit of contact? I'm not entirely sure, but Crispy trying to make the move on the Mercedes, but Friday able to keep that car in front and stays in P10 at the moment.
Phantom and Beaver.
We have 2 Mercedes battling 2 Alpines as it stands at the moment. As Crispy is looking for the move into turn 6, but can't do anything about it, as the downforce of the Mercedes is just too much.
Yeah, we have a Williams Alfa Romeo battle too.
We do. Phantom obviously staying closely onto the back of Beaver. Beaver with that 3-second time penalty, of course. And, well, Phantom knowing that, he knows he doesn't really need to fight it, and he's not going to. He doesn't need to, he doesn't have to put it simply. And, well, he looks pretty set to grab those extra 2 points for finishing in P8, as long as he just stays exactly where he needs to be. He could potentially look for a move at the end of the straight, and he is going to go for the move as the Alfa Romeo, and that looks to be cherry pickings once again for Phantom. Makes the move up into P8. Beaver can't do anything about it, and will have to stay behind in P9. He's still staying P9 unless Friday catches up onto the back of these 2. Then Beaver, ooh, bit of contact between Phantom and Beaver, but Phantom not really moving an inch and stays ahead.
Ooh, Porter than DRS is Sczther.
You're right, he is. And there is a yellow flag, and that's Beaver! That is Beaver that has gone round at turn 6. Or no, sorry, turn 7. And now, from what looked like Williams points, is now not going to be the case. That promotes Crispy up into P10, Friday up into P9. Now Williams not looking to score any points now in this race. Can I get an F for that?
F.
Just F. It was looking good. And then, unfortunately, just one mistake completely cost it. Because meanwhile, Cam has actually made the move on Crispy, and Cam is back up into the points. Crispy has just dropped like a rock in relation to Friday.
Oh,
maybe the downforce.
He's gained 4 tenths in 2 laps.
In 2 laps, that won't be enough.
That doesn't help. much.
It's not. It doesn't really do much, to be perfectly honest on that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to stay exactly where he is. Nath is low on ERS, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he's currently blinking. And I don't think his teammate is. No, he's not. So, right now, Nath not exactly having the same amount of power in relation to his teammate. And the two in front, Sczther, able to stay very nicely on the back of Hoop as it stands at the moment. Obviously, with DRS, that's helping him throughout this entire lap. And he actually gained like 3 tenths through that DRS. So, Hoop not pulling away as he wants to. And, well, as it stands at the moment, with the 5-second time penalty applied, he will still fall into P4. So Hoop will not finish on the podium.
I mean, that kind of hurts. You know, you don't set a foot wrong. You know, I say this week in, week out. You know, you don't put a foot wrong, and then you get the smallest of mistakes. And it's going to haunt you for life.
I wouldn't say for life. It would definitely haunt you in the moment.
Right.
Yeah, so Hoop just not able to do anything. He just simply can't do anything. He wants to hope that the drivers behind him make a mistake. That's really all he wants. But unfortunately, that's not happening at this stage of the race. And with Sczther staying within that DRS, he's getting a heap load of time in the DRS zones to stay in contention. And Port having similar pace. So actually, wait a minute. The two Ferraris looking pretty close here. I don't know if you're seeing it, but I certainly am. As Nath looking around, trying to see if his teammate will move for him. But that's not the case. Port staying ahead. Nath now is on. Well, Nath is now onto the back of Port. And, well, this actually begs the question that you were saying earlier. Is there going to be a swap between the two Ferraris?
That's interesting. I think Cam just got ahead of Friday going into turn 1. Friday's going to remove everything outside.
Wow, what was that?
Bush died.
Yeah, I can tell. As Cam aggressively defends that position, and he keeps himself up into P8. I mean, sorry, P9. Friday now down into P10, hanging on to that lonesome point. That Mercedes not exactly having the pace in relation to his teammate as it stands at the moment. And well, that has that has not really worked out. But he's still holding on to a top 10 position. Ritzy saying, typical Cam. Well, Cam, you know how Cam is. Cam, if he's gonna go for the move, he's gonna go for it, and that's exactly what he did. We all know it. We've seen it. It's gonna happen.
I don't get it though. He shows up for realistic, but doesn't show up for ACC.
It's Cam.
Cam.
That's all you need to know. That's all
Cam.
you need to know. There is nothing more and nothing less to it, okay? You understand.
Okay, what did you just do? What happened?
I don't know!
What
I don't
happened?
know, man.
Dude, this race is driving you insane, I swear.
We don't worry about it, alright?
Stop worrying about it.
Well, you shouldn't.
Okay.
No more.
You win.
As Crispy's into the pits, and Friday's actually made the move on Cam.
Oh boy.
So Cam is actually fighting it back once again. These two going absolutely at it as Friday's trying to go around the outside. Cam not able to do anything, and Friday able to make the move up into P9.
Is Pushby gonna try for fastest lap?
He might. He honestly might. Quick mention, by the way. Drix, 28 laps, on those hards.
Yes.
I tell you what, look who's caught up to the back of these two. Phantom. Where's he come from?
20 laps on both sides.
Like, yeah, I don't know where that's come from, but that's happened. As we're now on the final lap of this Grand Prix. Hoop still leading from Sczther. Hoop has been pretty much, to put it in simple terms, has had it easy, but has been unlucky. That's simply as it is. Has led since Nath made that mistake, and hasn't really made a mistake on the track, but unfortunately that speeding in the pit lane has not worked out as Cam has made the move on Friday once again. Cam has gone deep, but able to stay ahead And Phantom could potentially look for a move. There's still battles up and down the field as it stands a moment. But staying on the leader of this race, Hoop. It was looking perfect, but that 5-second time penalty absolutely cost him not having the pace to pull away. He's had, but I don't even know if he's gonna finish on the podium. Is he gonna come around the final corner? He'll finish on track first, but it's gonna be Sczther in the Alpine that wins the Dutch Grand Prix. He takes his 4th win of the season. Port will hold on to take 2nd place, and Nath will take 3rd. So it is a double Ferrari podium here in the Dutch Grand Prix. Hoop will fall down to 4th. One stage was looking absolutely perfect. Cookie, not the greatest day for the championship leader. He loses 15 points to Sczther. Gap between him and Sczther is now 7 points. Axe will hold on to take P6 ahead of Drix. Phantom will take P7. Cam, Axe P7, Drix P... Axe P6, Drix P7, Phantom P8, Cam P9. Friday will finish in P10. Beaver, unfortunately, not able to finish in the points. Toneless will finish P12 ahead of John and Crispy. Rounding out the 14 finishers that we've had is Crispy, though, going to take the fastest lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. Whereas his teammate has won. Does he take it? No, he doesn't. But Sczther, who wins here in Zandvort. It's the Alpine's 4th win of the season. As Cam will take driver of the day, obviously starting 19th did the McLaren, and he finishes up in 9th despite the mistakes that he made. And well, that is valuable points for McLaren. Yeah, I'm just getting word, by the way. Friday had floor and barge board damage. But aside from all that, Sczther takes the win here in Zandvort, his 4th win, and closes up the lead in the Drivers' Championship. It's a great day for Ferrari, though, as Port and Nath will finish 2nd and 3rd, respectively. The first double podium for Ferrari here in Realistic. But it is Alpine's day here in Zandvoort. The championship leader falling down to 5th, but the race winner gaining maximum points to try and challenge for that lead. As I would assume you'd be inviting the drivers for interviews.
Already did.
Are you? You already did. Alright, good to know. So Sczther, that takes the win here in Zandvoort ahead of Port and Nath. Another double Ferrari podium ahead of Hoop. And Cookie will finish in 5th, starting 15th did the Red Bull. Axe and Drix will finish in 6th and 7th, exactly where they qualified, by the way. Phantom will finish P8 ahead of Cam. That's Friday, rounding out the top 10. Beaver, Toneless, John, and Crispy. Unfortunately, missing out of the points. We lost Sufjan, Dayton, Sanchez, Raptor, Smeggy, and Ardell from this Grand Prix. As everything is lagging for me right now, I believe we're just waiting on 1st and 3rd to join us for interviews as it stands at the moment. We'll look. I'm just getting confirmation for them. Sczther has just said no. So Sczther will not be joining us for interviews, I think. As for Nath, I'm not entirely sure. Come on.
Let's go.
His mic is broken. Okay.
Ah.
So with that, I guess we're only gonna have one person here for interviews. Well, Port's suggesting Xbox app, but I don't think he'd be able to include his audio, which is probably the issue. So with that, we're only gonna have one person for interviews. So we'll just quickly cap it off. Obviously, Nath, grabbing 3rd place. He did grab pole, but unfortunately had a couple of spins here and there, but was able to stay within contention at the end and managed to grab that podium thanks to Hoop's 5-second time penalty. With that, we'll move over to who finished 2nd place in the Dutch Grand Prix. And well, Port, you were pretty quiet at pretty much that entire race. Not exactly making moves, but staying exactly where you needed to be. And with the help of Hoop's 5-second time penalty, you managed to grab 2nd place here at the Dutch Grand Prix. But tell us how that race was for you. And well, at the end of it, you did exactly that, and you grabbed 2nd place here in the Dutch Grand Prix. Next week, we go over to Ferrari's home track. It is, of course, the Temple of Speed, Monza. How do you think you'll factor in that race? We'll just have to see in just a week's time. Redeemer, do you have any questions for Port?
No, just congratulations and well-managed race on your end.
And with that, that'll wrap up podium interviews. That's already very quick. I'll quickly recap for the race winner. Obviously, Sczther starting in, I believe, 5th or something? No, 3rd, actually, my apologies. He managed to stay within contention for pretty much that entire race ever since Nath spun. And thanks to Hoop's 5-second time penalty, well, he did exactly that. He grabs the win for Alpine, his 4th win of the season. And I'm pretty sure Britzy will be very happy about that. But for realistic, that is going to be everything here tonight. But be sure to tune in tomorrow, though, for Tier 3, as they're going to be racing around Zandvort. Then it's Tier 2 and Tier 1 on Saturday. The fastest drivers in BRL will take on the Dutch Grand Prix. How will they fare? Find out tomorrow and on Saturday. And then next week, the Temple of Speed. It is, of course, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Same time, next week, realistic. Be sure to tune in. It's going to be a fun one, I'll tell you that much. But from Redeemer and I, that is everything. Good day, good night. See you tomorrow for Tier 3.